Welcome to Pod Dives, where we explore the decks of my Commander playgroup. Pod Dives is broken into 4 segments, designed to take you on a journey through each deck. The Commander section, where we break down the chosen Commander card, its mechanics, and basic strategies. The deck list, in which we evaluate how a player in my pod built around that Commander. Game changers and combos, the core win cons the player is pushing with their build, and finally, performance and community review, where we will see how the deck has performed with the pod, and what others online are doing with that Commander. Now let's cast off and dive into Círdan the Shipwright. Círdan is a 5-mana commander, costing 1 blue, 1 green, and 3 colorless mana. While higher in cost for a 3/4 creature, his primary ability has an enter the battlefield effect, and he's a color set that heavily focuses on ramp. This makes the 5-drop of Círdan a little less intimidating. Círdan has Vigilance, which is a great bonus, but his most powerful ability is his Secret Council effect, which reads whenever Círdan enters or attacks, each player secretly votes for a player, then votes are revealed. Each player draws a card for each vote they received. Each player who received no votes may put a permanent card from their hand onto the battlefield. Círdan is an elf noble. Elves are one of the most classic tribal types in Magic, often buffing each other or creating elf tokens. In Círdan's case, they provide mana ramp, but more importantly, a multitude of Simic elves provide scrying bonuses around voting mechanics, like Círdan's Secret Council. The noble subtype is not a primary tribal theme in Magic the Gathering, meaning there are very few cards that specifically care about or support noble creature type. Though, many creatures with noble subtype are powerful legendary creatures, so if you're building around nobles, Círdan may be on the list for you. Círdan is considered a group hug commander because his Secret Council ability will benefit all players of the game in some form every time it triggers. The key to running Círdan is to always have a large impactful permanent in hand whenever you play or attack with him. The goal is to set up a situation where you either get to play a game-changing permanent on the battlefield for free by receiving no votes, or at worst, you simply draw a card. Círdan's ability is highly political, as the secret vote is largely out of your control unless you're running cards to manipulate votes like Illusion of Choice. However, with practice, you can use that unpredictability to your advantage and surprise opponents with powerful plays, like ramping out Círdan early and voting for an opponent instead of yourself to cheat out early blue-green monstrosities. Part 2, Deck List. The way Círdan is played in my playgroup is a highly interactive one. The Círdan deck is designed for maximum group interactions with voting mechanics around every corner. Alliances are made and broken every match Círdan hits the board. The first section we review is Utility Creatures. These are creatures that exist to draw cards, ramp land, or provide another benefit outside of synergy and board presence. Synergy Creatures is the next group. These are mostly elves that benefit each other in scrying mechanics that sometimes trigger when voting occurs. Yes, a lot of them are from the Universe Beyond Lord of the Rings set, but that is the set Círdan is from, and there is synergy intended there. To win with Círdan, large game-changing permanents need to be cheated onto the board. To capitalize on this, the deck in our group runs a series of large sea creatures that can be hard to remove, like Coma Cosmos Serpent, or Serpent of Yawning Depths. Planeswalkers-wise, Kiora helps with utility and can ultimate for a sea creature that benefits off of things like Serpent of Yawning Depths. Oko is just fantastic removal that gets better the longer he is unchallenged. Jace helps with card draw in the same group hug way that Círdan does. We include some utility sorcery spells that are mostly looking for ramp. Venture Forth is probably my favorite among these, providing consistent ramp once it kicks in. Additionally, we have a fun group interaction ramp with Tempt with Discovery. After utility sorceries, we exclusively see voting and group interaction cards with the sorcery section. Most notably, Expropriate, which we will go over in Part 3, Game Changers and Combos. For instance, we start with removals and counters, things to get rid of stuff or keep things from ever happening. These do include some group interactions like Trap the Trespassers and Split Decision. Why shouldn't the table be involved in countering a spell? With the rest of the utility instance spells. Illusion of Choice is a must include with Círdan and leads the utility instance section. That card, along with Mystical Tutor, are something that we'll talk about in Part 3 when talking about how to win with Círdan, so make sure to tune in. Outside of that, we're primarily looking at draw cards and ramp. Enchantment-wise, our utilities are going to get us card draw, ramp, and slow the game down so we can get established. Our passive enchantments sit in the background, helping us crank out creatures or set up bigger plays. Mana artifacts are a must include in any commander deck. A lot of these you will recognize, but please note Model of Unity. Its interaction with voting and scrying plays directly into our elf tribal synergy. Utility artifact-wise, the deck is running well. There is a fun Time Bomb voting board wipe card, which you will benefit from if the table decides not to board wipe, the standard Greaves, and an elixir to recycle some cards back into your deck. We run 37 lands in our version of Círdan. Most are your typical dual-color Simic lands, though do note Rivendell is a fun synergistic card to add to your Elf Scrying combo. Part 3. Game Changers and Combos. The deck list we just showed you sits at EDH's Bracket 3 due to its Game Changers and extra turn cards. Let's take a look at those Game Changers now. This deck has 2 key Game Changers and a series of smaller combos that can win you games. The first Game Changer is Mystical Tutor, a standard blue tutor spell. You will use this instant to find one of 3 things when playing Círdan. The first, the other Game Changer, Expropriate, Illusion of Choice to manipulate votes, or a key answer to an onboard threat. Expropriate, being the other Game Changer, will close out a majority of your games if you have some kind of a board state. If you can manipulate the vote, it's even more lethal. It's a necessary card when running a high interaction voting deck like our Círdan build. Beyond those Game Changers, the most crucial card in this deck is Illusion of Choice. Note, Illusion of Choice isn't for one vote, but rather a continuous effect that applies to any and all voting instances that occur on the turn it is played. You can use Illusion of Choice to get ahead early when you play Círdan, or you can combo off it late game to close things out. Utility cards like Snapcaster Mage or Elixir of Immortality exist just to help you recall this card and cast it again. Other lighter combos in the deck include our blue-green Tribal Elves, which provide scrying bonuses. Cards like Elrond or Arwen will help you dig deeper into your deck to find answers to things on board or find your game-ending threats. While the elves are scrying to find these cards in your deck, they are also buffing each other on board and having various interactions like untapping each other. While this remains a control voting interaction deck, it does not have a ton of combos, so that's the look at this deck's playstyle. Part 4. Performance and Community Review. Performance-wise, Círdan has been performing well for our pod size. We run a group of 5 members, and typically 4 people show up to our monthly games. The most common setup is 4 players versus each other. In a 4-player commander game, a win rate of below 50% is expected as a norm due to the mathematical odds and the political nature of the game, where 3 opponents will work to stop a perceived threat together. With this in mind, Círdan maintains a 33% win rate, winning 2 out of 6 matches. Occasionally, we play 1v1 or 2-headed giant, in which Círdan has a 40% win rate, winning 2 out of 5 matches. From our experience, Círdan is significantly weaker when voting is just between 2 parties in a 1v1 game. Now let's look at the community. While we share a love for Círdan's Secret Council ability, our approaches have diverged a bit. Here are 3 key differences we found when looking at builds online. Difference number 1 is our Sea Creature sub-theme. Many community builds focus purely on Elf Tribal synergy to control the board, while stalling out games for EDH's big Game Changers to close it out. While we also run Elves, our deck is heavily focused on cheating out giant sea creatures. We want to land Serpent of Yawning Depths or Hullbreaker Horror early, which isn't something you see in other builds online. Difference 2, Game Changers, plays directly into Difference 1 as well. As mentioned previously, many Círdan decks online feature powerful spells that really close out games fast. Game Changers like Consecrated Sphinx, Rhystic Study, and Cyclonic Rift. While these are powerful, they are also very pricey. Our deck is built to win with an impactful suite of big, high mana cost creatures. This makes our win feel a little more direct as a result of the voting mechanic rather than a single powerful spell. Difference number 3 is high synergy voting. Our version of Círdan is running a series of high interaction voting spells. These deck slots are typically seen online taken up by more counters and removals than it is interaction spells like us. That's the high-level look at this deck's performance and review of how the community is building Círdan. What do you think of our build? What cards would you add or remove? Be sure to drop an anchor and follow along for more pod dives and pack openings.